Well, it's sick and twisted Senator Jeff Sessions from Alabama, the number 2 member of the House or the Senate Judiciary Committee, building a rationale for filibustering Supreme Court, whoever Obama happens to put forward for the Supreme Court. You recall that when the Democrats were in control of the Senate, they did not filibuster any of Bush's Supreme Court nominees. In fact, Clarence Thomas got in by 51 votes, as I recall. Maybe it was 52, but it was in that neighborhood. And it easily could have been filibustered. Wasn't. Probably should have been. But then it would have just been, I think the rationale on the Democrats' part being, kind of the Harry Reid, let's just roll over party, has been, they'll just give us somebody even worse, which, of course, in my mind is no kind of rationale at all. Anyhow, the point that of my conversation with Kerry, and this is where I think that we have to, this is the essential point. How do we define freedom? If the answer to this question doesn't become the central focus of a conversation in America, in my opinion, we're screwed. For 40 years in this country, or 50 years in this country, from the 1930s till the 1980s, we defined freedom as having the right, as a negative freedom as well as a positive freedom. The freedom to do things, but also the freedom not to be oppressed. In many ways, it was carrying on the vision of the founders. Franklin Roosevelt talked about that, that word freedom. He said that word freedom suggests, freedom from some constraining force, from some external force. And in that, he makes the point, the external constraining force. Well, in fact, this is the key to the whole thing.
That very word, freedom, in itself and of necessity suggests freedom from some restraining power. In 1776, we sought freedom from the tyranny of a political autocracy, from the 18th century royalists who held special privileges from the crown.
Okay, so that was the freedom that we were fighting for then. And now?
But since that struggle, man's inventive genius released new forces in our land, forces which reordered the lives of our people. The age of machinery, of railroads, of steam and electricity, the telegraph and the radio, mass production, mass distribution, all of these combined to bring forward a new civilization, and with it a problem for those who sought to remain free.
There's that freedom word again.
For out of this modern civilization, economic royalists carved new dynasties. New kingdoms were built upon concentration of control over material things. Through new uses of corporations and banks and securities, new machinery of industry and agriculture, of labor and capital, all undreamed of by the fathers, the whole structure of modern life was impressed into this royal service.
And that's where Kerry and I are separating. And I would submit to you that in order to be free, we have to be free from a restraining force. The restraining force that the founders saw was the government of the United Kingdom, was the king. And they wanted to make sure that this country was free from the power of the citizens of this country were free from the power of government. And that's why the Constitution of the United States is very often referred to as a list of negative freedoms. That is, freedoms that you and I enjoy that negate the power of government. It restrains the power of government. The problem, as Roosevelt correctly points out, is that with the Industrial Revolution and the mercantile revolution, this explosion of commerce in the United States, the growth of corporations, and not just corporations, but now transnational and multinational corporations, we have gone from being concerned about freedom from oppression by government to now we're looking at oppression by corporations. And I just find it tragic that well-intentioned, good people, libertarians, Republicans, conservatives, particularly those who are not millionaires and billionaires, are buying into this notion that the only kind of freedom that exists is freedom from government force. When in fact there is another force in this country which I would assert to you is even more powerful than government force. It is so powerful it's able to make Barack Obama stop talking about single-payer health care. It is so powerful it is able to make Barack Obama go out and sign on with the FISA bill. It is so powerful it is able to make politicians, the Democratic Party, make 11 Democrats vote against the average citizen with regard to mortgages and bankruptcy. And that power is corporate power in the United States. And if we don't push back against that corporate power in this country, the way that Franklin Roosevelt did in the 1930s, then we are going to live in a Big Brother society, and our freedoms will be lost, and they will not be lost to government. Government will be used as a tool to enforce that tyranny. But the puppet master behind that tyranny will not be the President or the Senate or the House or the Supreme Court. It will be in corporate boardrooms all over the world.